All right, let's do a quick tutorial here of the Postholer interactive trail maps. This is a long overdue tutorial, but we'll do one today. Let's click on interactive trail maps. And when we do that, we get a whole slew of trails that we have on the website. Let's go to Pacific Crest Trail, since it is near and dear to my heart, and we'll go there first. When we load from that page, we get a couple default settings. The first one will be the profile. You get the elevation profile there. So we'll toggle that off for now. We'll visit that in a moment. And the next default setting is the trail miles, which we'll leave those turned on for a moment, and I'll show you how to toggle those on and off. So the first thing we're seeing here, up here in the upper left corner, we've got decimal degrees, and that's just basically wherever you move your mouse, you get a longitude and a latitude and longitude in this case of where the mouse is. And if we click, we get the point where we clicked right here, right underneath the moving one. So that's handy. If we pan the screen around, we'll get this number right here, which is the actual bounding box of the screen, which can be handy for other applications. And if you want to get your GPS location and your device has a GPS on it, just click on the star. And it's asking for permission. We'll allow it. And it'll take a minute to get that. And there it is right there. So what it is telling us, it's telling us our latitude and our longitude and our distance from the trail. So I'm 49.7 miles from the trail. Let's click on that. And that takes me right to my house, which is pretty cool. And if we click on the miles from trail, it takes us to the point on the trail that we are actually closest to. In this case, it's Huckleberry Mountain, and it's at trail mile 1641. Let's click on one of these trail miles. All right. So what we have there on the trail mile, the information we have there is we have the trail mile, which is 1641. We have the elevation at that point. We have today's weather, which this gets updated nightly, so we get the forecast for today. We get the max min temp. We get the snow accumulation in SWE, which is currently 18 inches on Huckleberry Mountain. We get our 3-day QPF in inches. We get our SWE, which is our snow amount forecast for the next 3 days. We've got our wind speed, wind gust, wind direction, all that for today. Our monthly, it shows our monthly climate, which is our max temp, our min temp, our average, and the amount of rain we get for the month of March, this being March, which gets about 10 inches of rain. And if we look at some of the annual stats, we've get about 80 inches of rain for Huckleberry Mountain. And the April 1st SWE is about 6 inches. Notice here it says point forecast. If we click on point forecast, it's going to actually give us a forecast for that location. And as you can see, there it is. All the information you wanted to know. All right, so we're going to return back to this screen now. We got a good handle on that, on the mile markers. So let's go look at some of the different layers. Let's look at some of the different layers you can turn on and off. So by clicking on the little gear icon, and you can hit the X to turn it off. By clicking on the gear icon, you get a whole bunch of different stuff. So we're going to zoom out here a little bit. All right, we're back to our West Coast example, and we're going to go into the OpenStreetMap view. There you just get a different base map, which gives you, just a different appearance of how you want to view the map. We've got World Topo, which is ArcGIS's offering for base map. Historical US Topo. Let's zoom in on that one. These will be real familiar if you've looked at any older maps. These are definitely the ones that you've seen before. All right, let's go to satellite view. That'll actually give us a satellite view of what's going on here. We can actually see the actual ground. We'll zoom way in there. What do we got there anyways? All right. And what's our next layer? Let's go take a look. Let's zoom way back out. And if you really want an interesting look at the area, let's look at GOES 18. gives us a nice color, albeit slow, view of the West Coast here. And there you have it. That's kind of cool. All right, let's go back to our US topo. There it is. All right, the next section here is going to be our points of interest. A lot of interesting stuff here that'll be handy to hikers and those planning a hike. We've got the mile markers or meta markers turned on right now. We can turn those off just by clicking that, but those are handy. We're going to leave them on. Our next point of interest is going to be resupply. That's pretty handy, especially if you're planning your hike, or you just take a look, click on one of those, and there you have it. It shows you information of where it is. It's a trail mile, and your elevation, the latitude and longitude at the trail. And let's click on Walker Pass here and see what it says. It zooms in on there for us, same information, and it just shows us right there on the map where we're at. Anyway, there's a whole slew of these that you can take a look at and just get a feel for what the trail's going on here. Passes and gaps is always interesting. Let's go take a look at what do we got here. We got Bird Spring Pass there, Mulkey Pass, Forester Pass, the infamous Forester Pass. Let's zoom in there and turn that off, and there you go. There's Forester Pass for you. Let's throw a satellite layer on there, see what's going on. There you go. So if you want a good view of Forester Pass, there it is. All right, don't look too close at the trail alignment on that one. It was snowy when I collected that. All right, and let's go back to our US topo base map. We'll leave that one on. And we have next coming up here, we have our weather forecast. This is kind of cool. You can put a radar overlay on there, and that'll show us what kind of current weather we have going on there. As you can see, there's not a lot going on the West Coast. We got a massive high pressure overhead right now. There's something going on down south, though. You can see that. But I think the important one here, again, is point forecast. Once that one's clicked and highlighted, all you have to do is click anywhere on the map, and it'll give you a point forecast for that location. So let's take a look here near Sonora Pass and see what happens. All right, there it is, Leave It Meadows. And that's our forecast. It's pretty cool. All right, so we're going to turn that layer off so we don't get crazy there. And next down in our weather layers, we have a whole bunch of stuff going on here. I'm not going to cover them all, but a good one to take a look at just for fun might be, let's take a look at the daily min temps. Right here you can see we've got a legend here that shows us what the various temps are on the map. As we zoom in, you can see it's pretty chilly for the min temps. Let's go to the max temps. And it's not much warmer in the Sierras, but you get the idea. So there's the various layers here that you can use to see what's going on. Let's look at daily wind gust while we're here. That's always fun. And you can see the actual wind gusts that your area is going to encounter. Let's go back out here and see the up there by Nevada and Colorado. They've got some real high winds going on there. All right, cool. I'm getting distracted here. So let's turn that one off. And then we have the NOH RSC layers, which are direct from that source. Let's take a look at that. This is actually a KML, and it comes directly from NHORSC. We can scroll in here, take a look at that. And you can see that. You can see all the snow that's on the ground. And let's back up here. To actually duplicate that one, I've actually got the one that we create nightly, which effectively gives you the same thing. It just has a slightly better resolution than the NOHRSC one does. All right. And there's various snow layers that you can have there. We've got the SWE, which we just showed you, and snow depth and 24-hour snow. Fire layers is always important. This time of year in March, you're not going to see a lot of fires. But if there were, you can, whoops, let's go to our near trail fires one more time. There we go. All right. And as you can see, there's probably not going to be a lot of near trail fires here in March. Let's see if we can find something. We can go to the fire page and find it a lot easier, but we'll just do this, and I don't see one. Any controlled burns or anything going on. But that's okay. Anyways, you get the idea. You can, let's do fire sense, or what's a good one here? Let's do fire frequency since 1970, which is always a good one. You can see just how active certain places are. This is a good example right here, coming down Mount San Jacinto to Banning Pass and Interstate 10. You can see, if you look at the legend over here, the fire frequencies, there's just a whole bunch of, these are small fires that start there, and it gets so windy there, anything turns into something. So it's kind of cool. You can see how much area has actually been burned since 1970. Just one or two fires. This is all along Angeles Crest here, Los Angeles National Forest, and then back into San Bernardino Forest. All right, let's look at something else. So hotspots. Let's see, hotspots. And let's do some surface smoke too. All right, let's see what we've got, if anything else shows up here. Yeah, we don't have a lot going on. There we go. We got some surface smoke over here. I don't know what that's about, but there's obviously something burning over here on the coast. It's probably forestry burning their slash, but there is something going on there. And we go up here to the northwest, and you'll see some fires there as well. Don't know what those are about, but probably either forestry or controlled burns this time of year. All right, so let's turn that one off. And annual precipitation, we can look at climate here, and it tells you, if you want to see how much rain an area gets in a particular year. And we've got the legend over here to help us out. This is always one of my favorites to look at. If you go over to Mount Olympia, you can see that they just get pounded with rain, like 200 inches of rain a year. It's pretty crazy. All right, let's turn that one off. And down here in climate as well, we also have the minimum, max, and precip for any month of the year. If you want to say you want to know what the maximum temperature is in, say May, when you might be crossing some of the southern reaches of the PCT, the Antelope Valley area, the Mojave area desert. Let's take a look there. You can see you got temperatures in the 80s, 90s, and it's a little bit cooler up there in the Tehachapis in the Southern Sierra. But it gives you an idea of what the temperatures are, so there's no surprises. And again, you can look at the mile markers to see, exactly what today's temperature is and what the climate is for that particular month. So if it was May, you could click on it in May and you get an idea at the climate and see what that is. All right. So we have some administrative boundaries. Well, let's turn that off quick. And we have some administrative boundaries. We can go states, which is cool. See all the state boundaries. We can go county, which is cool if you want to see the county lines. Oh, I have turned on here. Let's turn hotspots off. There we go. And you can see the county lines. You mouse over, the county and it tells you which county it is, which is handy. All right. And what else do we have? With protected areas, I kind of skipped over. This is always interesting, especially if you want to check what areas have permits, requirements. So you can scan all the way in there. You can see you don't have any permit requirements until Hauser Creek here in the first section. Turn that off, and we'll turn the counties off as well. Terrain, this is an interesting one. It throws some elevation step in there. You can see how different the elevation changes are. Let's go back up to San Jacinto. That's always a pretty good one there. 210, where are you at? There you are. So you can see where you go from up here, go from an elevation of what? 8540. Actually, if we go back here, we can make it even bigger. 8504, and drop all the way down here to the hole, down to 1283. So it's quite the difference in elevation, which is interesting. What else? We've also got a slope layer here if you want to actually see the terrain slope and then just how steep it is. We've got that there as well. What else we got here? Cell coverage. This is best case cell coverage. If you want to see just how good your provider is, you can use this. And this is, again, this is best case. So we're going to go with Verizon. It's typically the best provider for cell coverage. And US Cellular, the absolute worst. So there must be some somewhere. There it is. It's just terrible. T-Mobile, they're kind of middle of their head. So let's turn them all on, and you can see exactly where there's a very good chance that you'll have cell coverage. And then again, this is best case. So take it with a grain of salt. All right, we'll turn all those off. And data coverage as well. You can see what kind of data coverage we have, which is interesting. And miscellaneous layers I do this for development and stuff. Fire risk is a good one. You can see what the fire risks are for the area. So, Southern California is obviously a disaster. Very high fire risk. And then if you want to see where building footprints for whatever reason, you have to zoom way in to get that, but we're not going to go there. Turn those off. All right. So that's pretty much it for the layers. Let's take a look at the elevation graph because that's a good one. We'll zoom back out. And if you want to know exactly what the trail elevation is in a specific area, all you have to do is zoom in on it. Right here is just showing the elevation for the entire trail, which is not very useful. It gives you a good overview of what's going on. You can see Forester Pass right there at 13,000 feet and Cascade Locks right there, of course. But if you really just want to, really see what the elevation is, let's go back and look at our infamous Banning Pass again, because it's such a good one. You can see it right there at San Jacinto, Snow Creek, back up to Big Bear. We'll zoom all the way in, and so when you look at the map, and you see the bounding area, like there's 210, so we're at mile 209.5, right? So it gives us a good idea. Let's back out just a little bit here. There we go. And we'll go up and up. There you go. And you can really see the descent down to Banning Pass from Black Mountain Trail Camp there. So it's pretty cool. All right, and we can just toggle that off there. And that pretty much does it for the Postholer maps. So I hope that was educational, and we'll see you on the trail.